moving.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me roll. Well, people in the comment section, good evening. It's good to be with all of you today. Happy weekend. I hope all of us are having a good weekend. Mommy Diaspora, thank you so much for all you do. May the good Lord continue to bless you, even as the Lord bless Nigeria as a country and black people all over the world and the entire world. I know that's almost a utopian tendency, but then what can we say? It's a funny world we live in. And the people who deal with me for panel, I say all of Madam Rita, Prince Collins, give us our mandate. Welcome. Who did it again? Ekula Vessel. F. Emmanuel. I see your guy Jonathan. Yeah. Una welcome. Well, it's good to share this space with all of you this evening again. What's I keep saying the issues are the same. They don't change, they remain the same. And what are these issues? They are issues centered around how to move our nation forward in terms of the economy, the finance, infrastructure, even superstructure. I think all are all important to move this nation forward. So, in my own contribution, I'll just piggyback on what Madam Rita has. One of the things Madam Rita talked about that this new development is it about making the NDC as a political party? Is it about making them popular? They are all using Peter Obi's name to become popular because wherever he goes, he's a phenomenon. Anything he touches glows. He touched Labour Party glowed. He touched the ADC glowed. Now he's in NDC. Don't worry, just wait. NDC has gone into the news. And NDC is going to glow. It's already glowing. But it's not just about going to make the party popular because there's really no time again to move to another party, if I may say that, because the option of movement are so limited. I think the deadline for all this to end is sometime in May 9th, because by May 10th, you cannot really do anything again. So it's a very good thing that they have to do that movement now. And one of the reasons why I believe that this has come to stay is that there are feelers coming from Kanu that the coordinator of Kwankwasia movement has already decamped to the NDC in preparation for his master, Kwankwaso, Musarabiu Kwankwaso. And also the lady in Adamawa, you remember the lady that almost got the governorship slot, not until they brought in their shenanigans again and they took it away from her. I think that lady used to be Atiku's.
That's Fintry, right?
No, Fintri is the governor. And what was her name again? Yes, Aisha to Dahiru Ahmed. I think she's popularly called Madame Binani. So she's the come to the NDC. So that's a very strong signal because there are some information that these guys know that we don't know. That is why I keep saying personally, I have to trust the system. I have to trust the system that Peter Obi is creating. Even if I cannot see all the picture at once, I just have to believe that he's doing the right thing at every point in time. Because if you don't go with that mindset, you keep pointing to cracks where there ought to be no cracks. Some of these politics that we are discussing, we need to understand that when it comes to information, some people they are occupying the plum position. They are more or less like omniscient. I think Nigeria was also said that earlier in his monologue that there are certain information that he is privy to, that none of us we have no idea of what those information are. So the point in all this, in this political discourse, we must allow the people that are in the forefront, the people that occupy that omniscient position to talk, and we follow the lead. Eventually, you just have to trust that it will work. Imagine you can trust your doctor to allow your doctor to bring out your heart and operate on your heart and replace it back. You can trust the doctor to put you to sleep and do all manners of surgical procedures on you. You just know that a doctor is going to do what is right. I think it's the same thing with this politics because all of us cannot be at that meeting where these decisions are taken. So before we support any person, we have to look at the character of that person. Then we make our decision using our own political standards and political acumen to decide who we are going to support. I think that's very, very crucial because in so doing, it helps you to relieve your stress. It helps you to reduce the amount of mathematical calculations that you'll be doing. You'll be thinking, with Peter will be go here now, anything go happen to this one, anything go happen to this one, anything go happen to this one, anything go happen to this one. That doesn't in any way mean that people should not raise questions. They should not criticize. They should not ask questions. But it should be done constructively. But it's not really about obstructing what the process is all about. So that's that for that. And I'm so glad that this has turned out to be like this because, like 3 days ago, I was talking about the ADC. I was like, there's really nothing. There's really nothing to be excited about with the Supreme Court judgment or whatever judgment it is. There's really nothing. Because we forgot that any judgment that the article and David Mark's faction, any judgment they secured, is not for the benefit of Peter Obi, it's for the benefit of Atiku and Co. Why do I say this? Let's not forget quickly the people that are in Atiku's camp with respect to this campaign season, with respect to everything happening in the ADC. Take David Mark, for example. We remember who the person of David Mark is. Remember, guys, it was David Mark that shared the primaries between Atiku, Tambuwa, Wike, and Co. They had a ground rule in that primary. So they had many ground rules in that primary. And one of the ground rule was that, look, after each presidential candidate, after they are finished campaigning, nobody is allowed to say anything. But after they finished what they were saying, David Mark gave opportunity to Tambuwa to come and say something again. And it was that twist, a twist in the tale that changed everything for good. It was at that instance Tambuwa told his delegate that he was stepping down, not that he was only stepping down, that he was stepping down for his brother Atiku, and advised his delegate to go along and vote for Atiku. That is betrayal of the highest order. They've done it before and they will do it again. There's nothing in their past, in their present, and there's nothing seemingly that any person can point to in their future that will change these people's character. Or is it Abubakar Malami we are talking about, SAN? These are the highest level of tribal bigotry. They have demonstrated it at the highest level. These are the kind of cabal Oga Jonathan was talking about. These are the people that will not allow for any option of movement. And guys, if we keep saying Nigeria is not working, for them, Nigeria is exactly how they want it. It's working for them perfectly. That's why they are not in a hurry to fix anything. It's only you and I and all the downtrodden across the length and breadth of the country that are complaining that the nation is not working. For them, it's working exactly for them because this is how they want it to be. Not too strong to protest against the system and not too weak to disintegrate. It must be kept together, but not strong enough to protest against the system, not courageous enough to protest against the status quo. So that is exactly the nation they've coined out for themselves. And that is why they are also happy the way everything is going. Because usually before any person becomes the president, they share the position. It's a question I was asking. So how exactly was Peter Obi going to function with these wolves, sharks, hyenas surrounding him. How exactly? Do you think Peter Obi was going to appoint everybody? No, sir. No. The movers and shakers of those governments will be coming from the likes of Amechi, Atiku Abubakar, and all of them, all the other juggernauts. These guys, they are nothing but buccaneers. They are just there for their own selfish interest. So, in moving forward, I think the NDC, the way it stands now, there is really little time for anything. And if any person ever thinks, I wish Black Panther was there, because Black Panther, he always talk about this attitude of a drug lord. He always talk about their attitude. If you ever think they are going to give up, you are just in a fantasy world. Like Black Panther has repeatedly said on this platform, see, Tinubu and his people, they are never going to give up like that. Their goal, they are not worried about Atiku, trust me. They are not worried about their Mechis and co. Their headache is His Excellency Peter Obi. And of course, Kwankwaso, because they understand that Kwankwaso has a depth of grassroots supporters, organic supporters like His Excellency Peter Obi. They know that these are supporters that you don't give money to before they start working. If their leaders say, let's move, they move without any further consideration. So they understand this. So the goal of the people in power is to ensure that Peter Obi is not on the ballot in any way they can. That is what their plan is. And it's not just only the people in power, even the articles and co. They were thinking that they would trap Peter Obi into that ADC coalition thing. The plan was just to make it like a booby trap. And once you are there, if it gets to that deadline, by Friday next week, there will be nothing much Peter Obi could do again. He will remain trapped there. They will conduct the primaries. David Mark is there. And they will ensure. Do you think David Mark, Arik Beraska, they just took over the leadership of the NDC to hand it over to Peter Obi? No. No. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah.
So even
So
the judgment, you say what, Prince Collins?
yeah, see, you just said it all. They don't want Peter Obi to be on the ballot. There's nothing.
Yeah, the
They
judgment
want to marginalize it to the
yeah,
extreme end.
the
At the end of the day,
judgment. That's the thing. So many sentimental, emotional stuff that you do when we come to these politics. Technically, if you are a true Peter Obi supporter, is what I was trying to portray the other day. We could have even be championing that judgment ought not to even favor Atiku Abubakar and co, his camp, the David Mass camp. Let them conduct a proper election to elect the proper ESCO. Not that you have ESCO, you have David Mark, chairman, Rigberaska, secretary, and you expect these guys are going to just keep quiet like that. Let them dissolve everything, conduct a proper ESCO, let everybody contest so that people from Peter Obi's camp, people from Kwankwaso's camp, they will be amongst that ESCO. So we have to take a step back sometimes to look at these things critically. Because the way the whole thing is looking like, Peter Obi is just like, what's that quote from Shakespeare, Macbeth? If I remember, yeah, he said, I'm tied to a stake, I cannot move. But like a bear being baited, I will fight the cause. That's exactly the position they have thrown this man into. If not that this man is emotionally balanced, he has clarity of purpose, he would have faltered, he would have salted, he would have taken steps that will completely undermine his presidency. But the man has been going guided by conscience and guided by the most important thing, the love for the nation. Any
all right,
politician that does not have that is not fit to rule. That is why
all
this man has been going on. That is
all
why
right.
nothing.
Round up, sir.
Yeah, I'll stop. I'll round up now. Nothing seems to stop him, and nothing seems to weigh him down. So Nigerians, if you know what's good for you, your children and your children's children. This is the only man, this is the team that can rescue our nation as it stands now. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for listening. Prince Collins, please, I hand over the microphone to you. Talk to Nigerians.
Hello?
Yes, Prince Collins, talk to Nigeria. Microphone is yours.
Thank you very much. You have spoken. It's like in fact, you said more than 70% of what I'm about saying. Because Nigeria.